Hi. It's been a minute since I made one of these. But first of all, thank you for all the new viewers and subscribers to the sound healing videos. Today's video is for the majority of those who subscribe to this channel, the empaths, the ones who've been through a fair share of unhealthy or met some toxic people along the way. And one thing we all have in common is that experience, or having experienced unhealthy relationships in the past. Now, I try to focus on the forward energy, what we're working towards, rather than staying stuck on the past. And a huge part of this healing journey is community, is a sense of belonging, and that is a feeling I really intentionally try to create in making videos with other creators, and just in a general sense of understanding, intentionality. So, without further ado, the theme of this video is on trust. Children should have only one responsibility: to receive. They should not have to be giving. Their only role is to be given nurturance and support and guidance, not to be doing that for their parents. So when we have to reparent ourselves, or learn how to first trust ourselves, first learn to regain that power and feel worthy enough to give ourselves attention before others, is incredibly difficult. And then the main theme of this message is mostly around this part. When we are starting to trust and rebuild connections and branch out and meet and cultivate new friendships, we need to learn to be discerning and who to trust. Okay, this conversation could go in multiple directions, but I have a main message today, and it's for particularly this stage. You might have gone through a spiritual awakening or a deeper dive within yourself, and now, as you're coming out and you're starting to meet others outside of your bubble, don't be in a rush. Take your time and be okay with using your discernment. And here's the main part: pay attention to reciprocity. Are you the one to always lead the vulnerable conversations? Okay? Conversations are, I want to say, the first step, because you can still have your energetic boundaries up at that point. You can decide what you say, and this is where the first wall, you can decide whether it goes up or comes down a little bit. Pay attention to, who's opening up? Is it always you that's sharing more vulnerability? And what are the other person's intentions in hearing your vulnerability? Okay? The second part I want you to be cognizant of, and I'm not saying go out into the world afraid of everybody, but trust me, when you find the right ones, it comes after you've practiced this, after you've said no to the ones that we're used to and the ones that we've given a million chances to. So here's what it's going to look like. You're hanging out with this person, they seem really great. You're still not sure if it's because you're leading with vulnerability or if they're actually like an open person. Then there will come a point where a piece of power becomes available. And they can either continue to show up and continue to emotionally relax, and this could just show up in maintaining commitments or just being a good friend. Or they can pull the power card and maybe cancel on a plan. So the first time you're like, okay, that's a little triggering, that's a little reminiscent of this previous trauma or whatever, things like that. And think about, would I have done this to this person? These are good thoughts to have. These are positive. And if you don't have anyone to validate you, here I am. This is good. All right, so they've canceled on you once, and you're pretty sure, like, I wouldn't have done that to them. Then, let's say you're continuing to talk, you're continuing to show up vulnerably, and then they have this new friend, and they continue to talk about this new friend. And trust me, in my unhealed days, like, I'm still not 100% healed. I don't think anyone... I never will be, but we're on that path of growth. So I've definitely been guilty of this too, but they start talking about this new person in front of you, like they're trying to show them off. But the ironic thing is, they've talked about how they don't like this other person, but they choose to interrupt whatever you're doing to make time for this other person right in front of you. Almost like an intentional date where they need to feel a little bit better about themselves, so they make space for this other person right in front of you. Now, some might apologize, some might think that's totally normal, but when you feel that twist in the pit of your stomach, that's okay. That's also normal. This is the wound that you're working on healing. This is all the people in the past that tried to diminish your worthiness by putting someone or something in front of you all the time. It's okay to take a step back and question that. And again, ask yourself, would I do this to them? Where is this feeling coming from? Okay, so now you've given this new connection a couple chances. The third time something like that happens, whether they cancel, see if they're just trying to see if you're willing to get used to this. You're willing to let them treat you this way, because that is the pattern repeating itself. But now that you've done this work on yourself, you're starting to recognize, you have the awareness of what that looks like, and you're on a path to breaking it. Okay. This is where you take a step back, and you don't have to try to explain it to them. They're probably not going to understand. And depending on where they're at, they might actually project, or it could do the opposite to try to explain yourself. At this point, just pull yourself away and know that you need space. You're not in a rush. You just spent time with yourself. Okay, you're not in a rush. You don't need to make everyone your friend. You know that there are going to be some that deserve a seat, and some that, well, you're still learning who is worth it or not. Now, try this out. Take that step back and see what happens. See what other kind of awareness is, and maybe signs and synchronicities you weren't aware of at the beginning because you were leading with an open heart. And I don't want you to ever stop doing that. Don't ever give up on that heart. I don't think that you can anyways, but it's such a beautiful gift to have a heart that big. What does it tell? And then, after you've been discerning, the most amazing thing happens. The right people start coming in, and they're going to feel a little weird at first. It's actually going to feel unnaturally airy and light. Like, you can go a day or two without talking and nothing feels off. you can be just as relaxed. There's no roller coasters or anyone trying to keep you in that anxious state. And that's when you start meeting people who are genuinely healthy and they understand the distance, because when there is that distance, there's nothing wrong. They're not scared of you having those awarenesses, or you getting out of their control grasp, because they were never trying to control you. The right ones. Okay. That's my message for today. I think most of my messages are going to be coming through in sound because who's to say? Actually, I let spirit and my intuition guide me. When a message is meant to come out, a message comes out. But lately, the sound frequencies have been doing most of this work because you get to be in your own energy. You get to do what you want with your intentions. That's the whole intention behind the empowerment, is for you to truly empower with a little bit of guidance yourself to make these changes and grow in the direction you want to. Okay, that's it for today. I love you. Bye.